Hi, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. This is Rashid, and this is my good buddy, Geoff.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
And listen, we're just trying this thing out. This podcast doesn't even have a name. We also are down two co hosts. Funny story about that, we're having tech issues. So we're just going to go ahead and record this pilot. Hope it gets picked up by NBC, and then we'll get taken down because we tried to buy NBC. So we have just one topic today for you all, and I am going to frame this topic that we're going to discuss by quoting liberally from one of my favorite media outlets, the Washington Post.
Mm.
And our topic today is Sean Combs, if that is indeed his real name. So this story, written on March 26th by Anne Brannigan and Herb Scribner, two proud African American people, is called What We Know About Diddy's Sex Trafficking Allegations. And Anne and Herb say armored trucks, helicopters, and swarms of federal agents mad because they're flagrant, and police descended upon Sean, quote, Diddy, end quote, Combs's Los Angeles home on Monday, part of a bisexual, oh, I'm sorry, they said bi-coastal raid
Oh,
carried out by the Department of Homeland Security, which also searched his young Miami residence. Well, just Miami. A law
so we're
enforcement,
starting the podcast with Freudian slips, huh?
well, I mean, you're right. A law enforcement official speaking on the condition of anonymity to discuss an ongoing investigation said the searches are part of a sex trafficking investigation. Combs's attorney, Aaron Dyer, called the searches a gross overuse of military level force and a witch hunt based on meritless accusations made in civil lawsuits. He noted that his client has not been arrested and added, Mr. Combs, if that is indeed his real name, is innocent and will continue to fight every single day to clear his name. One other thing we're sharing today is words that Mr. Combs himself shared on Instagram on December 6th in all caps, so you know he was mad, typing like Kermit the Frog. For the last couple of weeks, I have sat silently and watched people try to assassinate my character, destroy my reputation and my legacy. Sickening allegations have been made against me by individuals looking for a quick payday and not the candy bar. Let me
Mm.
be absolutely clear. I did not do any of the awful things being alleged. I will fight for my name, my family, and for the truth. The title was Enough is Enough, and it is signed Sean Diddy Combs. Now, Geoff,
Yes.
what in the hell is going on?
Ooh, it's looking pretty bad for Diddy. It's looking pretty bad for Diddy. It's a general question of did he do it?
Did he do it?
Did he do it? Uh,
Allegedly, allegedly,
no.
did he did it? But let's talk about it.
Well, let's talk about it.
So,
Let's
what,
talk about it.
Geoff? What did you think when you heard that it was the Department of Homeland Security conducting the investigations?
So I immediately thought maybe human trafficking
Mm-hmm.
because that's the kind of divisions they have. They don't have drug or weapons departments at the Department of Homeland Security or
Mm-hmm.
units at the Homeland Security. I was surprised that they had armored boats. It immediately brought to mind visions of a TV show in the '90s called Thunder in Paradise,
Oh
and it
wow,
was it was starring Hulk Hogan, and it was the worst show you ever seen in your life.
wow.
But it was very much in the vein of like Knight Rider or Cobra, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody
Mm-hmm.
in the '90s was into these high tech vehicles and solving crimes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It it
Now,
it it. Yes, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead with your thought.
I'm just as I'm thinking about Knight Rider and and all of these such shows. Do you get the impression that they're just trying to take a black man down and are wasting government resources to do it, or do you think they're on to something?
I don't think that the government, especially in an election year, is very, very much not into appearances of wasting government funding.
Mm,
I don't think that they make a move like this without having
yeah.
some credible evidence, at least a witness. Somebody is saying something.
I gotta say, I mean, the various people that have come forward to talk about to discuss these allegations, uh sorry, to bring up these allegations, to bring them forth in the first place, such as Cassie and
Mm.
those allegations that she made, and there are others. There's people I have never even heard of before that have been alleging activities that the law would define to be sex trafficking.
Yeah,
uh and my belief is much like yours. Yeah, sure, black folks have every reason not to trust the government,
sure.
and and yet and yet
And yet,
this is not the first time that Diddy has been in some sort of legal trouble that has been high profile.
yeah,
Um, that doesn't mean that, he did anything. It doesn't mean he did the things that are being alleged currently. It doesn't mean that there is any evidence at his homes or what have you. The story is salacious. The story is quite titillating and interesting. And I think the whole thing is to prevent us from realizing that Diddy's eyeballs are way too small for his skull.
yeah. He got some small ass eyeballs. He's got small
He
eyeballs,
is a funny looking son of a bitch.
but he's worn those really dark shades for a long time. Anyway, I think that there is strong validity to the stories of Cassie.
Mm-hmm.
She was with him for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and that it went from she was a music artist to she was just Diddy's girlfriend.
Right.
Like she completely stopped doing music. It appeared.
Seemed that way to me.
Yeah, and so Diddy's always been like his brand overall is just being the coolest guy, the guy
Right.
who could throw the parties,
Right.
the
Right.
coolest
Right.
guy in the room. That's his brand.
Right.
Mhm.
Uh
Is
oh.
is our is our co-host here?
Uh oh.
I know it ain't. I know it ain't my
I
co-host.
am here.
Welcome, Kris. Glad you're here. Glad you're here. So Geoff, please continue about his brand of being
But
the coolest
mm,
guy in the room.
Yeah, his brand being the coolest guy in the room. He's always been known from celebrity circles to even the general population of throwing the best parties. Everybody's heard of
mhm,
the Diddy parties, and everybody's heard of Diddy's white party, and all of this
mhm.
business going on. I've never wondered what was going on there. I always assumed it was the Hollywood party, the Hollywood thing going.
Right. Especially
Um,
Right.
since Diddy was like he was a promoter even when he was like a Howard student.
yeah, yeah.
He
His
was
brand is always throwing the best parties.
right. And
Mhm.
those there's a bigger issue here of Diddy is not my hero. Let's say that. And I also want to
Right.
say for the record, Lenny Kravitz also wears sunglasses to hide his eyeballs. Y'all need to look into that. But
Mm.
Mhm.
he at what point do we begin listening to what folks are saying? At what
Mhm.
point do we go past the have you ever been swallowed
Ooh,
and really start thinking what is the culture that is being developed here?
Exactly.
So Kris, what do you make of the what did you make of the allegations when you first started hearing about the raids and whatnot?
So, okay, starting from the raids, like I knew it was coming eventually.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a shock. Because what I saw first was that they had his sons in handcuffs.
Mm.
So that was the shocker. And I never thought that even with everything that has been said or alleged, that those kids would have been involved, but allegedly they are involved in some kind of way. I'll just say that.
Well, they're sure involved
Um,
now.
yeah. So, in a sense, I kind of feel sorry for them, especially the girls, but what have they seen?
Right.
That's my question. What have they seen? And I agree with he's always been the party guy. I can think back to when during the over the pandemic and they were doing the little parties and stuff with I was like, "Oh yeah, look at that. They're having fun."
Right.
But if you think deeper into this with these celebrities, like with the stories that are coming out, the certain things that we've seen about Cassie over the years, it's all starting to come together, it seems like. Things
Seems
are
that
starting to
way.
make sense.
Now,
So,
so Geoff had somewhat of a theory. Maybe we shouldn't
mhm,
call it a theory, but speaking of getting swallowed,
Mm.
I wonder, Geoff, do you think that this has our attention because of the sex trafficking reasons, or do you think it is because of the other rumors that have always seemingly swirled about Diddy's orientation?
mhm,
Yeah, this
mhm.
seems to have captured the imagination of all of social media, all of Black Twitter, let's just call it.
Yes. Yeah,
Um,
it's Black Twitter, right.
yeah, the court of public opinion, and he's really kind of condemned on allegations of homosexuality,
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we've been hearing of the most. Those are the memes and the jokes that's been going.
Mhm.
But if you take a step back and look at Sean Diddy Combs' history with women,
Yes. Yes.
we're talking about some really weird behavior in regards to Kim Porter,
Yes.
in
Allegedly.
regards to Aubrey O'Day,
Mhm.
Allegedly.
allegedly. Let's
Allegedly.
sprinkle it,
Yes,
sprinkle it.
allegedly. Yes, allegedly.
Jennifer Lopez decided she was not about that life. She'd rather
Yes.
order ham and cheese on a roll
Mhm.
and an
Yeah.
orange drink than to hang out with these bad boys.
Uh-huh.
And
But also, oh,
also, let's
sorry.
go back to, let's not forget, his son Christian Combs dated Lori Harvey,
That's right.
and then the following year Diddy was with her.
I
Yes.
forgot.
Yes. Should we say
Wow.
allegedly?
Allegedly.
Oh no, this is
No.
a
Allegedly.
fact. That's a fact.
No,
That's a
I know.
fact.
It's
Oh,
definitely a
okay.
fact. Yes, it's definitely a fact.
Wow. So
So
it
piggybacking, I'm
go
sorry,
ahead,
go ahead.
Kris.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say piggybacking off of that, um, the story behind Kim Porter's untimely demise, we really don't have a story,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then, like all of a sudden it's, oh, that was my baby. I was so in love. I miss her so much. And it's just like, okay, what happened to her?
Mm.
And, and this, allegedly, um, what the theories are
People
behind that.
Well,
people are
let's
talking.
also
Um,
connect it. Let's also connect it to something that is seemingly unconnected. We almost Al B. Sure almost died in the last year.
Yes, yes,
And a lot
yes,
of people are connecting that to Diddy, and I'll be
yes.
sure has not said it's not true.
He's not said that. No.
It
Now, a lot of those things that were alleged, I guess you can say, by Cassie in that lawsuit have been confirmed. For example, the Kid Cudi thing,
Mm.
to
Wait, what's
where
the Kid
he
Cudi thing?
okay,
Oh,
so apparently he was interested.
Lord, the government done stop Chris's mic again.
you see how Diddy cut her off, right?
Did he do it? Yes, he
Did he?
did.
Yes, he did. Allegedly, allegedly,
Allegedly. Allegedly.
allegedly.
So while
So
Chris's situation comes back, I do want to say this, and I don't want to don't want this point to be lost. It is sad that our culture is treating the allegations against Diddy in such a way that the worst thing he could be is not a rapist of women, not
okay,
a
say it.
trafficker of women,
Bring it.
but someone who is attracted to men and
Mm.
allegedly has slept with men or had other types of entanglements.
Right.
And that says much more about us as a culture than it does about Diddy.
It does. It does. To get back, hopefully we get Kris back soon. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if she can hear us. Hopefully she'll come back. I hope she doesn't mind if I put a bow on her Kid Cudi story.
Mm-hmm. Please, please, because I didn't know anything. His abs are wonderful, but please go ahead.
Well, I guess Kid Cudi and Cassie had a friendship that was developing, and Cudi had some feelings for her. He had a little crush on her,
Mm.
and apparently, allegedly,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Diddy blew up his car.
Oh, I did hear about this. What? Oh, wow. Geoff, this sounds like Empire. All of
It
this
does sound
sounds
like
like
Empire.
the missing seasons of Empire. And the sad thing is, like, this is all alleged. This is all a lot of big, jumps. But I feel like Diddy and people of his ilk are so influenced by the 1980s Dynasty Dallas era that if
Mm,
anybody could figure out how to do all this shit, it will most certainly be somebody from that generation and that level of wealth and privilege.
yeah, and a lot of these TV shows and forms, different forms of media, books and songs and all of this. It's not. It doesn't come out of nowhere. Like it
Yes.
is inspired from other places. I'm not saying that it was inspired by Diddy, but it's inspired by something. It's inspired somewhere.
And Cassie alleged.
Uh-oh. So it seems like we're having some connectivity issues
Yeah.
with Kris, and maybe it's not audio, maybe it's so just so our viewers, our listeners at
Allegedly.
home know, we are coming from three different locations in the United States, and only one person on this call is coming from some place that probably has really good internet. The rest of us, we got two gerbils on a drum, like running to make electricity for our stuff. So, we can't blame it on Diddy. It really is our communications infrastructure in this nation. But
Yeah.
Geoff, please continue.
Um, well, that just kind of took my mind off of what I was talking about, but I was
Sorry.
really trying to connect those dots into these weird circumstances that have happened between people like Kim Porter, who did pass suddenly, who
Yeah.
seemingly was in good health before,
Yeah.
uh, Albie Shore, who, for all we know, was in good health before, and now he almost died in the last year,
Yeah.
and there's been a lot of allegations against Diddy, aside from his parties,
Yeah.
aside from you know the homosexuality allegations, which you know in this conversation I would really love to decriminalize what the hell they're talking about with that.
Right. Right. Right.
Um, But there's a lot of allegations aside from him of him trying to kill, of Diddy trying to kill people
Yeah. And these are allegations that we do not hear about very many other celebrities at all.
at
Right.
all.
Kris is back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
I am.
She escaped from the clutches of Diddy. Um, real
I'm
quick.
sorry, you guys.
So besides Diddy, we have heard similar allegations to Suge Knight, right?
Yep.
Right.
I would say in terms of I'm gonna call it the Victor Newman of it all, like
Mm.
the soap opera villain level. So we're not talking about allegations that have been made against Dr. Dre for beating women, because sadly, I think that is very common in the culture. And we're talking about people that are using their influence and power to allegedly uh, amass that power over the control of other people through human trafficking, through drugs, through murder, through these things. And I can't think of anybody else in the industry besides Suge Knight and Diddy who have been accused of anything along this magnitude.
Right.
But
Right. I haven't either.
if we look back at the history of Sean Combs, what we see is the partying, of course, the lifestyle is what he puts on Front Street, but you get these small spurts of extremely violent behavior.
Yes.
That almost seems like it's out of character, but when you put them together, this is who he is.
Right. It's like he's a kind of like a Dr.
Jennifer
Jekyll,
Lopez
Mr.
decided
Hyde
she
kind of.
wasn't about that life.
Mm-hmm.
But that was because or somebody, supposedly Shine, had unleashed gunshots in the club.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we see where Shine is now.
Yeah, we see where he is now. He's a politician.
Yeah.
Listen, he is Mace. So we are coming towards the end of our podcast, but we do want to make a couple of points real quick. It seems like the word that I would use about Diddy, at least creatively, is a vampire. And it seems like the people that he has worked with have been bled dry for
Yes.
whatever they could possibly offer to him. Mace is out of the mix.
Yep.
Shine might as well be a preacher in terms of the transformation he had to go through to become a politician in his home country. Day 26, the band, like, and I think that when I think about legacy, I would much rather, if I was in Diddy's shoes, which I am not and could only hope to be, I would want my legacy to be that of bringing the best artists, most decorated artists in the world. Like like Clive Davis. That's who I want. I wouldn't want to be a nearly 60-year-old party promoter. What a disappointing legacy that might be. And to be wealthy for the sake of wealthy, as opposed to being wealthy because you discovered Whitney Houston, or you discovered the Beatles, or you discovered David Bowie.
Right.
Like, and that's, to me, that's sad. Perhaps in a future podcast, we'll talk about how Diddy is the reason we know Jennifer Lopez is white. I don't think we have enough time to go there, but she was from the block until the block was hot.
What block, Jenny?
That?
What block, Jenny?
That's a good way to end it.
Tell us what block, Jenny.
I don't think I think that block is in Long Island. I don't believe it. So let's let's end our time together on a positive note. And I'm going to ask each of you a question. I'll answer it first to give you some time to think about it. What is your favorite song or moment or gift that Diddy has brought into the world prior to all of these shenanigans? For me, I will always be grateful that Diddy made, and this is going to sound terrible, but Diddy made being a Bama cool. Like, he was like, if you want to be loud, if you want to be bright, if you want to take up space, then go for it. And I think that the time in which we came up in the late 90s, early 2000s, I think that it was a nice shift for the culture that we went from hip hop having to be hard to hip hop becoming something. Well, no, you actually can dance to this and you can take up space and you can be he would never think he was awkward, but I think we all know he was awkward.
Mhm.
Kristen, any contributions that you'll give Diddy credit for?
Absolutely. I am happy for, honestly, the Lil Kim Junior Mafia
Mm,
Biggie Hoes era. I think that was a good time. That some good songs came out of that. Lil Kim we were able to meet her and see her talent, to see how pretty she was.
mm-hmm.
Um, and I think I'm happy for that era and those songs that are definitely classic.
How about you, Geoff?
So Diddy's impact in hip hop was, I would say, more, it's iconic. Okay, his place is solidified. You know, he was the shiny suit of the shiny suit era, and he represents the commercialization of hip hop. Um, but I'm gonna go a different direction with my favorite era of Diddy. I'm gonna go with making the band,
Ah.
because when he
Uh-huh.
had them children walk to get him a Junior's cheesecake,
Mm-hmm.
Lord have mercy, I was on the edge of my seat for every second of it.
Yes.
Now I must say, Junior's Cheesecake, if you've never had it, and they are not sponsoring this podcast, but Junior's Cheesecake actually is really, really good.
Is it
And
worth walking to Brooklyn for?
I personally do not like bridges, and I
Right.
never have. So I wouldn't have. But the gotcha is there was a Junior's in Midtown. There's a Junior's right by
Oh,
Times Square. To this day, I don't understand why they had to walk to Brooklyn when they could have just walked to Midtown and pretended they went to Brooklyn.
yes. And I don't think that he's ever given an explanation as to what that had to do with anything.
Well,
Exactly.
I'm sure it was the notorious Big of it all. A lot of that making the band season was about getting those kids to appreciate the impactful moments of hip hop history and a lot
Yes.
of that stuff.
And the idea was great. In theory, the idea was
Oh,
great.
completely poorly executed.
Yeah.
Completely terribly executed.
Yeah.
Made for great TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Ah,
And
let him
let's
fight
go with the Boom Cat in the second seasons of.
for sure. My favorite quote from Making the Band was Tracy Waples. And these names, this has been over 20 years, and I still remember when they were casting, Tracy Waples said, Chopper's gonna be a problem. And whole time after they were casted, Chopper was the least of their problems. It
Yes.
was literally everybody else, including Sarah Stokes.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
Look,
I'll say that a failing of the band was that there was only ever one singer. They should have had like two singers.
and
Like,
she didn't even really sing that much. I don't even, and if she did, I don't remember those songs.
yeah, yeah, I don't. Yeah, I did like that little. Anyway, so this is the podcast. Again, it still doesn't have a name. We'll figure it out. What do you think? Let us know. We probably won't pick it, but we'll listen. We are so grateful that you listened. Until next time, this has been Rashid for Geoff and Kris. And you all stay safe, stay away from the parties, and
Don't
pray
get
for Diddy.
swallowed up.
Don't get swallowed.
Bye, dude.